Hey guys, thanks for joining us on the Team Tally podcast, a parental pilgrimage with a micro preemie. I'm Mike Kirkland, I'm Tally's dad, and doing this with me as always, since I twisted her arm into it, Stephanie, her mom.
Hey guys.
So, welcome, Stephanie. Thanks for not getting tired of doing this yet.
Mhm.
It would it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be as good if it were just me. So,
I don't know if that's true, but
I do. Nobody watches for me. So we've had a busy couple of weeks. Uh, I know Stephanie was wanting to talk about. We've been working on walking with Tally, with her learning to stand up, building some leg strength and her balance. And Stephanie wanted to talk some about that, and not just that, but her overall journey with her physical therapy, because she's been in physical therapy since probably what about her.
I would say about 4-ish months. As soon as we got home from the hospital, we basically got a referral from our pediatrician to do outside physical therapy, and we also have our relationship with Senior Start,
Yeah.
which is the
So,
state-based therapy.
yes. So we've been very proactive with physical therapy, uh, which I think has made a huge impact with, I mean, that's how she got to where she was crawling. She was still a little behind even the adjusted age a little bit, but without the physical therapy, it might have even taken longer.
Yeah, I think I've noticed a lot on the NICU pages that I'm in that a lot of people have questions about babies with the brain bleeds and if they have positive outcomes. And I think that's kind of what brought this topic on for me because Tally, I think we've discussed, has bilateral grade 4 brain bleeds on both sides. So the doctors, I think, wanted to give us every outcome. And of course, they give you the negative outcomes to prepare you. And so we did have the possibilities of no walking, no crawling, and things like that. And I think the physical therapy journey has been good and bad and scary. But I think for anybody out there, even if your baby doesn't have any type of brain bleeds or brain issues, I think it's important to do the early intervention. My sister works as a para at a school, and she's always, been a advocate for kids who um, need some type of early intervention. My nephew is a very high functioning autistic, and she had to go to bat for at schools for him. And my cousin was a special education teacher, and she's now a counselor. So I think the importance of getting therapy and advocating for your children are probably top on the to do list, not just for preemies, but for any kids. We've had to advocate for our other children, our other oldest daughter in school, and, stand up for them. So the physical therapy journey is quite the journey. And I think we don't know where we'd be without it because we've been grateful to have it. But it's one that we've had to take and one that I feel like has been truly beneficial. So,
Definitely. Uh, I would say that the biggest thing with doing the physical therapy is just to be consistent. We've been doing weekly appointments since the beginning, except for that little pause where we went to every 2 weeks. But we were also switching therapists. We were the therapy plan itself was changing too, because Tally was right on the verge of starting to work on standing and walking. So the old therapist didn't really get a chance to evaluate how she was with that. So
yeah.
she had recommended every other week was going to be good. And then when the new therapist came in and we started standing her up and putting her legs to work, we gave it a couple of weeks or a couple of appointments. And, we asked her, it's like, do you think this is good enough or should we go back to every week? And she definitely agreed every week would be better.
Right. And we love our old therapist. We didn't have any issues with her. She just ended up quitting to go back to school. So we were moved to a new therapist. And we also do occupational therapy, which Tally is succeeding and doing very well with the occupational therapist. So we're staying to every other week for her because she's not showing the difficulties with the occupation as she is with the physical. But I remember when our original therapist was leaving and she suggested going to every other week. Um, Tally was making great improvements. She was crawling, she was getting around, she had started to just pull up a little bit, but she wasn't doing it all the time. And in the back of my mind, I was like, man, are we sure we should move to every other week? But, I don't get to go to the therapist appointments because I work and that's Mike's day off. So he takes her and, I just, if figure the therapist reassured me that, if it's something that she's not ready for, we can always go back to weekly appointments. So we agreed to do the every other week and we started seeing our new therapist, Miss Ashley, and she noticed some issues with Tally's legs where she's got tightness in the back of her hamstrings and possibly low muscle tone in her ankles, which the muscle issues they say more likely stems from the bleeds in the brain. And because she was so premature, they say it's from her being in car seats or carriers longer than normal babies could possibly be. She also has an issue with which Mike probably could word this better than me, I'm not sure, but the curve in her spine. She doesn't have the natural curve that most babies do because of the prematurity and being in the seats longer than normal babies and not being able to sit up as early as normal babies or crawl. So these are just our main issues that we're trying to get through to help her with the walking stages. If that's, did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, just parental concern, we've asked her. So these things are correctable just with work and practice and building the strength and using the muscles. Nothing that you see that indicates, surgical correction or anything like that. And so far, she doesn't see anything like that. She thinks that we can just, keep working hard on it, which Tally does. She works hard. Uh, she thinks her spine curvature will work itself out as she gets up more. It's like she's not standing up correctly. She's still kind of leaning forward. So she's not getting that natural S curve in her lower back that somebody who was already walking would have. So Miss Ashley thinks that all of that stuff is correctable. It's just going to be a matter of time. And Tally works really hard. I see improvements every day, even between appointments. She's trying to stand up by herself more. She'll do it on the couch or on a bed, not so much on the floor, but she'll stand up and then she gets a big kick out of throwing herself down on her butt.
It's a little game for her.
Yeah. So, but she's getting more comfortable getting up into that position and then throwing herself down, which really even just kind of braces her for the idea of when you try to stand up, you might fall over on your butt, which, she'll have to get used to that too.
Yeah, and I actually got to go to her appointment this past Monday because I was off work due to the passing of my grandfather, and Ashley was actually saying that she was on the verge of recommending us to get some type of orthopedic support to help her, but even just between the 2 weeks that we had our last appointment at, she said Tally had made such improvement with keeping her knees bent and standing up taller that we're going to prolong that a little bit longer and give her another month or so to see how she's doing. So that's good. It's just a hard, tricky thing. To even taking her as a baby, I didn't even realize they did physical therapy as babies. But she even got some therapy when she was still in the NICU. They just come and make sure their muscles are moving so they don't get tight. And we basically at home, we work on her stretching. She doesn't always like it. If you keep her distracted, she won't notice it, but we keep her legs straight as possible when she's sitting down playing. we have a little tray that we put her toys up so she has to reach up and actually play with them and keep her back straight. Because if you ever like do notice she sits down and she doesn't really sit up straight like most babies do, she hunches over like probably more adults do, and it's because of the tightness in her legs. It's not comfortable for her. So it's all about stretching, and a lot of the therapist gives us ideas of what to do at home and help her, because even though she does go once a week, she still needs it throughout the week to continue the improvement that she has with her walking. And I just had a reminder today at church, which I think is another reason why I felt to talk about this topic, was that Talley was like the firstborn out of, I think, 5 other babies at our church. And it kind of hit me hard this morning when I worked in the nursery, and she's the last one walking, and I went back to my self, my inner self, and went back to that place in my heart, in my head. It's more my head, because I know in my heart that it's okay that she's not walking, but I got inside my head and I was like, I'm so worried that she's just going to get left behind because everyone else is bypassing her in these areas. But I also know that she's improved so much. So anybody who's out there that's struggling with, where their babies are compared to others, whether you're a preemie or not, it's so much easier for me to say than just to do. But it's their own race, and I understand that in my head, but sometimes it still hurts my heart because I worry that she is going to get left behind, or she's not going to succeed in the areas that she needs to succeed in. And she has not proven any of this to me. It's just my own concern as her mother, as her parent. Because even any child you don't want to see struggle. Our oldest daughter is struggling in some other areas, not making the best choices, and that hurts my heart too. You want to just step in and do everything for them and help them make decisions and help them succeed in life, but you can't. So I don't know, it just touched my heart to want to talk about her physical therapy and her journey. So
Yeah, and Stephanie, I didn't tell you this yet. I don't know that you saw it. There's a comment on the YouTube page. Somebody I know from Twitter commented that he was born at 7 months, so he was a premature baby too. Not as premature as Talley, but this was in the early 60s, and they didn't have all the physical therapy and all the advancements that we have now to help her. And he said that he was just over 2 years old when he finally walked. And back then, all they could do is, push and hope for the best and keep trying. So we've definitely gotten some medical science is amazing. Not just the medical science that gets them out of the NICU, but, the physical therapy techniques that they have, and just the understanding really of how the musculature works and how it develops is a big deal.
Man, those comments are just so important to my heart, just to hear like the stories that people have come before her and succeeded. And my sister even has a friend where she had a daughter that, I don't know the exact weekage that she was born, or I think it was a son, I'm sorry. And he started walking right at 2, so I know that Talley is on the right track. I know that. But I just also know, being as the mom, and if anybody's out there who's the mom or the dad or parent, sibling, whoever, it's hard to see your baby struggle sometimes. So those positive comments and the stories are really, really good to hear from other people. And until we became part of this world, we had no idea how often it happened, or other than any struggles that, because, Mike had our oldest daughter and no troubles, and then we had our son, no troubles, and then you just get thrown a curveball with this sweet, sweet baby girl who, for what reason, we don't know, came early. Sorry, guys.
She was just ready to come. She's always, ever since then, even just does whatever she wants on her own schedule. So there's no, I don't think there's ever going to be any getting around that with her.
No.
No.
And I see a lot of times on the NICU pages I'm on Facebook how they just talk about how happy their babies are, and she is so happy. I mean, she's teething right now, so she's not as happy. She's a little snotty, a little cranky, but overall, that's what my sister always tells me. She's just such a happy baby, and she is. And she's had just the roughest start of them all, but you wouldn't know by looking at her. She's always smiling and happy, and she's a good sleeper. I couldn't ask for anything more. Because our son is not.
She's a good sleeper. She's a good eater. She's got a good sense of humor. She's starting to get to where she likes to play tricks. Her brother was a trickster, but he was that way basically from birth. So she's discovering that it's fun to play tricks. Even now, I was telling you just yesterday that she would indicate to me that she wanted a bite of my dinner, and she would say bite. And so I would get a forkful. It was a pizza bowl. I'd get a forkful, and I would bring it towards her face, and as soon as it was this far from her mouth, she'd close her mouth and turn her head. And I was like, I thought you wanted some. You don't want any? Okay. So I'd pull it back, and then she'd be like, open her mouth again, and it's like, oh, I see. You're tricking me. I gotcha. Just like your brother, huh? Even Nevaeh, she went through a phase where she was older, maybe 5 or 6, where she would try to scare me. Every day, like 10 times a day, she would hide behind something and then jump out at me and be like, boo! Did I scare you, Dad? I'm like, no. Why not?
Of course you couldn't just play along and let her scare you. Come on.
No,
now.
I did. But by then, she's like, why didn't I scare you? I was like, because you just tried to scare me 3 minutes ago. I knew it was coming. Try harder. You know, you got to give them some, constructive criticism. As tempting as it is to be, I think it used to be helicopter parents that just hovered over their kids and kind of did stuff for them. Now they have bulldozer parents who just knock all the obstacles out of their way, so they don't have any resistance, any struggle, anything. And I get it. You feel that kind of urge. I want them to be successful at everything. Unfortunately, I can't go to college for them. As it is, Nevaeh asks me to do homework stuff for her, and I have to be like, you need to figure this out yourself. Because I can't do it for you. If I could walk for Talley, I would do it.
If I could do everything for my kids, I would do it. But they have to learn their own on the hard, and while they're learning the hard way, it kills the parents.
I would tie her feet on top of mine, strap her to my legs with bungee cord, and just walk her around the house completely. Where do you need to go, Talley? You need to go outside? Okay, let's go outside. She'd never have to walk on her own, ever. But it doesn't do her any good for me to do that. We parents, we always feel those types of urges. Even when we don't want to, we do want to.
I was gonna, our therapist also recommend putting her in a shoe, which was kind of surprising to me because a lot of times you hear babies need to be barefoot to let their feet continue to form and to grow the proper way. And so I want to show these to you guys in case anybody out there is in search of a shoe. They need to be flexible enough to where they bend, but they also have enough support at the top that covers around her ankles. And we were looking at the Stride Ride shoes and all these other shoes that are pretty expensive for toddler shoes because they're just going to outgrow it. And we have trouble because she does have such short feet that even the smallest size shoes they have in the stores are too big for her, because the therapist said it's important to not get a size too big because that will not help the walking process either. But we found these cute little white, kind of, I guess, generic stride right shoes, you'd say, at the Shoe Depot, and they're just the same brand as the they're just Shoe Depot shoes. I didn't even know they made their own brand, but they're bendable enough on the sole to where they bend. And then the therapist was very happy about how high they come over the ankles for her support. And they're only $20. So I don't know if I'm trying to plug the Shoe Depot. But we also had gotten some little tennis shoes from Target, which were just the Carter's brand. And the therapist was happy with those also. But Tally learned how to unvelcro those and kick them off every time she had them on, pretty much. But the therapist said on these type of shoes here that it's a little bit better because the top actually comes over her ankle to give her a little bit more support on those ankles. So since we're talking about the physical therapy and the walking, if anybody's out there and can't find any shoes, Shoe Depot, and they were their own brand, and they were like $19.99. So that's my plug for today.
Never be afraid to buy the store brand, unless it's trash bags. Gotta watch those.
There's a few things, but most things are just as good and generic.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with trash bags, when you find out they're not as good, it's with a bag full of trash. So that's trickier.
But
I would also say, you said that she figured out how to do the Velcro on the shoes. She's also been undoing her baby earrings.
we've already gone through, like, my sister, bless her heart, wanted to get her the cutest earrings, and I told her that when we got her ears pierced, they were supposed to be the almost like child-proof ones that they couldn't take off, but of course she got one out, so we had to go find different ones. And my sister brought her home these really cute package of earrings. They have a lot of pairs in them, but we think we're on our third pair because I don't know if they come out in the bath, if they come out in the sleep, but almost every day we're missing an earring.
Yeah,
And
we
I
should
don't know
probably
where
tell Liz, her occupational therapist, about that. She'd probably be really happy with that. Tally's been untying shoes forever.
She loves shoelaces. She really does.
Yeah, she unties shoes. She undoes the Velcro on her shoes. Now she's taking her earrings out of her ear. All by herself. Well, maybe that's just a testament to the occupational therapy. Who knows?
Well, even with occupational therapy, we had to get on a waiting list for that. So we haven't had that as long as we've had the physical therapy. And she just really has excelled in the occupational therapy. So it's more the physical aspect that she struggles in a little bit more. And she just turned a year and a half. So because she's going in for her child checkup on Wednesday, not Thursday, Thursday's Thanksgiving. So, even last time we went in for a child, they were saying a lot of the things as far as her babbling and the few words that she says, that she was right on track as far as her adjusted age. So, I mean, overall, she really is doing great. It's just sometimes what you see on the outward, like the walking and the struggling and just being a parent and a human being and seeing other babies do it and getting it inside your head is hard. So it is definitely, I think, the biggest struggle that I've had learning about having a premature baby.
You have to learn patience.
Mm-hmm.
Patience is the biggest thing to all this. You know, there's doctors, there's therapists, people to keep you informed, keep you on the right page, but you have to get the patience in here to remind yourself she's going to do it when she does it. There's nothing we can do to speed that up. It's just going to be on her schedule.
I think 90% of the time I have the right mindset, but every now and there's a day that just gets me, and today's been a little bit of one of those days, and it's just good to talk about it sometimes. And thankfully Mike is a great listener for me, and if he has the same thoughts I have, or if he has different thoughts, we talk about it. I mean, there's even times when he's comforted me even when he has been concerned, and he just, steps up and takes care of business. So I
We
think that we definitely handle this process together well.
Yeah, we try to keep our communications open. For me, I sometimes have to remind myself that it's okay to have my own feelings about things. It's okay to, be stressed out or to be uncertain or even scared. Because there have been days where that's the only way I could describe what I was feeling. It's an ongoing trauma being in the situation. I know we've mentioned before, every time a doctor says, well, even just that hesitation, we immediately have a response like oh God, what's wrong?
Your stomach drops.
Right.
Hmm.
And it's just right back to the initial shock and trauma of the beginning. And it just takes you right back to that. It's like a PTSD response,
Hmm.
like the fight or flight or whatever. So you're just always right on the edge of that response. And then you have to talk yourself down. If I need to talk to you, you talk to me. We just kind of help each other down off of that ledge that we immediately feel like we're about to go over.
Hmm.
So it's crazy sometimes.
It is. And I mean, I understand a lot of these issues can happen to a full term baby too. But when you have your full term baby, you don't really get talked about, or they don't really arise. And if they do arise, then you know, face them as they come. But it's almost like when you have your micro preemie, it's like this is the doctors and the nurses come at you and they mean the best, that they're like, well, these are what could happen. And it's just so much to take on. And then it just consumes you sometimes. And it's good just to stop sometimes and just look at them and just say, wow, look where they've come. Maybe she's not where we had thought she would be, but she's going to get there. So,
She will get there. She doesn't stop fighting. She's accomplished more in a year and a half of her life than some of us have in our entire lives. And she'll never remember any of it. That's amazing
that's
to
the
me.
best part of it.
She doesn't even know how strong she is.
We just have to tell her the stories and let her know what a fighter she is and what obstacles she's got through every
Mm-hmm.
stage of her life.
I think it's been pretty well documented too with the photos and the videos. And
Yeah, I guess that's one good thing about social media too, because it was just easier when we had updates for her when she was in the hospital to go on social media and say, hey, everybody, this is what's going on. So as the time goes on, it'll pop up in our memories and we can be like, hey, Tally, look what happened 5 years ago. Look where you were. Look
mm-hmm.
where you are now. So social media can have its good things.
Yeah. Plus, Tally's had quite the following on Twitter also, because I've been pretty open with sharing her journey as she was born very regularly as like a therapeutic outlet for myself as well. But she's got quite a few people that know her story and are in her corner and pray for her on a daily basis. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, that's what my sister says. She's like, I think everybody knows who Tally is. I think a lot of people know who she is. Even at church, people we don't talk to on a regular, they always stop me and they want to know how she is or what she's doing now. And I mean, all the older ladies at church love babies, but it's like they all kind of know her story, and everybody checks in on her every now and then. So it's amazing to have a support system.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we call the show here, it's Team Tally. So it's pretty amazing. So many people have shared. She's the most famous baby. Maybe not quite the most famous baby, but
She's pretty famous to us.
she's pretty famous. And not many people get to say that they've witnessed a miracle, and we do.
Yeah.
We've witnessed it, and we've been witnessing it day at a time, every day, and it's ongoing.
I mean, and always, always we give God the glory and give thanks for Him for giving her the strength that she has. Because if it wasn't for the strength that she had, we wouldn't be where we are now. And she is a strong little girl, so watch out, world.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that's a pretty good stopping place right there. Any final thoughts, Stephanie, that you want to
I
mention?
just really wanted to touch on the physical therapy and how important it is. And if you have any doubts or any concerns, if you think your baby might need, early intervention, ask your pediatrician. Like our pediatrician, I think we've just said multiple times, like she has been on board for anything that she thinks will help Tally. And even I remember when I first took her in from leaving the NICU and we had to carry in all the oxygen, and the pediatrician said, now with her, you're going to have to kind of be my, I don't know, like, ears. You're going to have to tell me all the updates that the doctors are giving because, yeah, the hospital says that they're going to forward her results to the pediatrician, but I don't think that they always get them. So anytime we have an update, I always send an email in saying, hey, we just saw the neurosurgeon, this is what they said. Or, hey, we just saw the eye doctor, this is what they said. Because she even said, I think she only has one other child that she sees that's a preemie. And so she's like, I'm going to take care of her the best I can. I'm going to give you all the support you need. So always be ready to ask your pediatrician for help. And if they can't help you, find somebody who can, because I have learned that I think early intervention is what's really, really helped our sweet girl.
Definitely. And advocating for the baby, ask all the questions you need to, even if you think it's a stupid question, it's not. If you need something re explained differently, ask. I do that at work because I do tech support all the time. It's like, did I explain that in a way that you understand? If not, let me know and I'll do it again in a different way. I need to make sure that you're on board, you know what we're talking about. If you don't know what your doctor's talking about, ask.
I would say, even if you think it's something before you have an appointment, write it down, because we only now see the neurosurgeon once a year, and I'm not going to probably remember every question I have, so I'll just kind of make a little list. And if it's something important, then I will call them and ask them. But we haven't, thank God, haven't had to do that. Even the ophthalmologist, we don't see him but every 9 months. So if something comes up, just write your questions down, and I don't think that they mind. We could always write down our questions, and if they didn't know the answer, they found out for us. So
Definitely. They don't mind at all. They want you to understand what's going on so you can create a plan that's going to work for the baby, that's going to work for you, and that's going to work for the doctor also. So the communication is important with the medical teams, communication with your partner, between
very important.
us,
Mm-hmm.
very important. Some relationships don't survive something like this, and that's terrible. But I feel like, we've sharing my feelings is not something that comes very naturally to me. But I personally just made the extra effort. If I don't feel like I really want to talk about it, I probably should. So I make the effort to do that.
Yeah, I mean, same here. I didn't grow up in a family where we really talked about feelings or got really emotionally deep, but if you hold it in, it's just gonna consume you. And sometimes I think that I probably do more of the talking. That's okay. I'm the girl.
Well, a lot of times I think we're feeling the same thing
Yeah.
also. So one of us will bring it up, and the other will just be like, I know exactly what you're saying. I feel the same way. And we'll just pep talk each other, say, it's okay. Here's where we are. Here's what we're doing. We have to keep this mindset. We just kind of talk each other through it. And we just stick together, and that's the best we can do. So it's holding the family together. Not just us, the little ones, everybody else. Just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So We definitely appreciate everybody joining us. This is the 8th episode. I'm amazed that we're still doing it.
Me too.
So, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure and like the channel and subscribe. Click the little bell so you get notifications when the new episodes come up. If you're just listening to audio only, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you get the new episodes downloaded. Ratings and reviews are always welcome. You can shoot questions or comments to me on social media. Happy to hear your stories, answer your questions. If you have an idea or something you want addressed on an episode, we can do that too. So please let me know how we're doing. And thanks for supporting Talley and our family. And thanks for being part of Team Talley. So, thanks everybody. We'll see you next time.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Grateful for your family and love on them and spend time with them. And see you next time.
Definitely. I'm very thankful for all of my kids, my beautiful wife, and our little imperfect, perfect life.
Yes. Couldn't have said it any better. Love you.
So, thanks everybody. We'll see you next time.